Shop tour 2018. What is it, April? April 2018 shop tour. Can't do a clean plate because, anyways. And by the way, I have no idea who's going to see this. It's just one of those, I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't do this right when I started making videos, because I would like to see my shop evolution. Maybe my kids would want to see it someday. I don't know. But anyways, if anyone is seeing this, hey guys, welcome back. My name is Nick Ferry. Somebody said that the other day, like, you don't say your last name. I guess I just did. nickferry.com for all the information. This is my impromptu shop tour. I'm going to try and keep it as quick as possible because I know that these shop tours, there's a lot of things to show, and I don't want it to drag on for long amounts of time. But we'll start in the corner where it has my service door here, and that leads to the house. You're going to see like lighting and, I mean, long-term storage. I won't get into that, but a lot of my lift chains and stuff for different things are in that corner. I have, and this will be the funny thing, but I have a big thing of router bits here in this cabinet. I don't have one specific spot that I keep router bits, and you'll see a reoccurring theme. That's probably not the best organization in the world, but bear with me. This is my real garage. It's my real shop. A funny little system here of bags. If I over purchase things at any of the home stores, hardware stores, or anything like that, my wife's an accountant, and that's, if there's anything in these bags and they go to an applicable store, the receipt and the thing is in there, and my wife just knows if she's out and about to return those things. Because I do have a habit of, you know, hey, oh man, I need 20 lag bolts, and you only use 16, that type of thing. But anyways, some long-term storage here. My plate joiner, biscuit joiner, odds and ends, bits and bobs, that type of thing. Ratchet straps, chains. Not necessarily, I said, it's not the most room in the world. If you see these red vertical poles throughout the video, these are from a company, Fast Cap, and they're basically just to hold lights so that they're adjustable. If I have to move lighting, it's task lighting. It's a long story, but no, it's not holding the ceiling up. Different plywoods and sheet goods and small cutoffs here. And again, not the, but anyways, we're gonna move in a counterclockwise fashion. My theater cart. This I did a video on. In fact, it was the first video, not many people know this, but it was the first video that I recorded, and it was not necessarily the first video that I released, but my wife convinced me, and that's actually why I make videos to this day, is because of my wife. And she's agreed to follow me around with a cell phone and video record this tonight while I talk about tools. But anyways, yeah, this is my theater cart. I wish it did, I wish I got more use out of it at this point, because I just haven't been building many theater type items. But yeah, it sits and it collects dust, and that's another reoccurring theme. You'll notice horizontal surfaces collect things. But anyways, moving right along. I'll show this too. This was my sandpaper cabinet. I did a video on that as well. And it has actually been more of a circular saw, table saw blade storage. It just kind of evolved into that. My cordless tool cabinet, again, a video on that. And I'll leave all the links to everything, the tools and everything. I'll put a little article together, and I'll have links to everything down in the description for that article. And that article will have all the tools and the videos and everything listed. I don't have, as you'll see later, my cordless tools in here anymore. I have most of my hand planes, is kind of what this cabinet is more about. So I don't know, maybe I'll get around to changing that, but it serves its purpose better in my shop right now for my hand tools. And again, you'll see multiples of these black cabinets. That's kind of one of the things in my shop that I got a mix of kind of mechanic rolling toolboxes and handmade drawers and stuff like that. But if you swing around here, this is kind of my, I don't know, we'll call it a little catch-all here of chisels and pony clamps marking knives, a coping saw that, I don't know. I'm one of those people that I lose certain small tools, nail sets I'm notorious for, but it's a fairly brand new coping saw, and I'm sure I had to buy it on a job, and I just, I used it once or twice, and it served its purpose. And then a bit set, which is oddly enough, my most underutilized bit set in the shop, because again, that was just it was, I don't know, on one of those things to where, I don't know, I bought it for one particular reason, and then, yeah. Anyways, moving right along here, I'm in the process, and this was another reason I finally wanted to do a shop tour video, because I am a sucker for shop tour videos, in the reasoning that you can sit there and watch it, and you're bound to pick up a tip, a storage idea, a workflow idea, something. It might not be your exact layout. I even watch like metalworking and stuff, leathersmithing. It doesn't really matter. A workspace is a workspace, and you can always pick up things. And this is one of my clamp racks, and it's kind of on its way out because I have some equipment that's going to go down here, and I don't like it. It was a knock it out in 5 minutes project, and it's just, I don't know. It's just collecting crap at this point. But I have some kind of tchotchkes type items up here. This one in the upper right. When I did theater builds, I had a gal that was like a 7th or 8th grader, never used a power tool or hand tool in her life, and she drilled a smiley face in there and signed that board for me. And oddly enough, I kept it. It was, so if Lydia ever sees this video, there you go. I actually kept that. And then a little piece of cardboard that said Employee of the Month on it, because why not? Lay bucket lid, if you've ever seen my stool video, and then it's got to be Bob Ross approved. So, and then a hard hat and some Romex. But anyways, if you zoom out, you can see every horizontal surface collects stuff in my shop, and that's another reason I was hesitant to do a shop tour video, because I'd always tell myself that, well, as soon as I get it kind of cleaned up a little bit, I mean, I'm not trying to make it look perfect, but how am I going to show the tools that have tools on top of them? This is how it is. So if I needed to use my miter saw right now, yes, I would have to move all this stuff, and that's just how it is. I don't know. It's a lived-in, worked-in shop. I don't know what else to tell you. But so like moving boards across here just to get to this cabinet. Again, another one of these black rolling cabinets. Again, links to everything in the article. But yeah, so that's what I was working on. And even, I don't know, this is like a water-stained piece of oak that it just needs a home. And apparently that just means in my shop, a home. Moving right along, up here I have my scaffolding and an abundance of OSB that a buddy of mine, there was overage on a job, and the company that they bought it from went out of business, and so they couldn't even return it. And he's like, what do you want? It's going in the dumpster if you don't take it. And of course, I suckered up and I said, I'll take it. So if I ever build a shed or whatever, I'll have 5-10 sheets of that laying around. It's just one of those things. And then some aspen and 2x4s under there because, the day I put them under there was probably 5-6 years ago, and they've just stayed that way. Again, a theme emerging. I built this little rack actually for a travel trailer, and it served its purposes, and now it holds various soapy water, some glue, some white glue, PVA. So this little corner here we'll call that sits atop my ever stacking scrap bin, which is an old differential oil barrel that I painted, 15 years ago. But little knick-knack type items and things that either I've picked up over the years or people have made me. My friend Braxton made me this little lidded top box with a brass inlay, and it's got a little rosewood in there. This bowl, I was at a craft show, and I'm like, I couldn't turn that down. There's I don't know, it's just really neat, kind of, it's not punky, but it looks like it should be punky. A pen, like I said, little odds and ends. This little cute mushroom I picked up at a craft show. Just things I needed to have, whatever, things people have given me. Yeah, that sort of thing. So that's where those sit. Here I got my wet grinder. Oddly enough, for a little cheap wet grinder, I'm fairly pleased with it. Again, links to everything down below. But now, granted, I don't have 150 hand planes that I'm changing the bevel angle on a daily basis. But this is like kind of a knockoff of your name brand type wet planer, or what did I just say? Wet planer, wet grinder. It works really nice. It's got a little leather strop wheel on this side and a whetstone on this side. I can't tell you how many things I've sharpened. And I got this little, you can't tell what's mobile in my shop and what's not, but this is glued down here so I can set my depth on most of my plane irons. I should have various ones, but it just is what it is. This I built a little while back, and I'll say a little while, with maybe a year and a half ago. And these rolling tool cabinets, these mechanic style tool cabinets, I never seem to roll them around, and this was kind of my build out in front of my garage door. And so they're not on wheels, they're built in. They sit here. This is my angle grinder drawer. I just got a bunch of angle grinders in there. But I've been starting to kind of mark things and lay things out as my kids kind of help out in the shop more. So a lot of, measuring and marking up top. And so anyways, that's kind of built in, and as we rotate around, you'll see that. But, again, the theme of these black cabinets, I like shallow drawers. That way you can't stack crap upon crap and then not get to the crap, because I'll do that here. I just stack stuff. My benchtop bandsaw, I think this was like the 4th or 5th one I've owned in my life. It serves its purpose. It sits with a narrower blade on it for tighter curves. We'll get to my standalone bandsaw in a little bit that's got a resaw blade on it, but I mean, it's served me pretty decently over the years. I like it, as far as it does what I would expected it to for a typical benchtop, bandsaw. But moving along here, you can see my drill press kind of precariously perched here with this shaker table. My friend Bob gave me this shaker table. He had a friend break it, or a customer break it, and he was going to throw it in the burn pit. And I said, well, no. I said, I could probably do a video on repairing it and repair it and maybe give it back to him. So it sits here on my drill press table. My drill press, again, benchtop drill press. Nothing hugely fancy there, but again, it served me well. It's tuned up pretty decently. And yeah, nothing more to say there about a drill press. Eventually we'll get to these shoebox containers. You can normally find them for under $1, and they just store random bits and bobs and things that I got in my shop. I got a couple of them here full of leather, some power strips for built-in stuff, a Pinewood Derby one. And again, you label them with like a Sharpie marker. Me and my kids were working on Pinewood Derby cars about a month ago, a little less than. And so kind of the overage there, went to there. And another thing that made me want to do this video is I just got finished with this lumber rack here, quite literally a half hour, 45 minutes ago. And just to store more odds and ends pieces that are anywhere from 2 to maybe 3.5 feet, it'll go back. And I'm like, this is what I want to capture. I want to capture it's kind of the evolution of my shop. It took me and my oldest boy, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to knock out this little benchtop lumber rack. And then I put some extra sheet goods and different projects I'm working on, a sewing tabletop for a buddy I got the glue up. And below, it won't apply to everybody, but I made a snowblower garage. And so I live in a cold climate, and even mid-April here, we just got 20, 30 inches of snow. And so one of these is kind of a must. And I don't need to get in here other than when I park it after snow blowing, I put a box fan on there. And that way it just makes sure that it gets super dry, doesn't rust as quick and all that good stuff. But just a little tabletop Z-clip here holding that so I can get to it. And these are just actually the tops. And of course I can't do this well on camera, right? But these are just the butcher block tops from the cabinets we just saw that I didn't put the wheels on and all that stuff. But moving along, I have all of these hardware containers stacked up as well over the shop. About 2 years ago, I started building a organizer to house all of them. That is still on my list of things to do. It's just, things come up. I'm always working on at least half a dozen different projects, some paying projects, some volunteer projects, some nonprofit, some community things, some, shop things. And this is just always gets kicked to the end of the list, I guess. But looking down here, I have my standalone router table. I just sold my benchtop router table actually about a month ago. This is nice, a larger top to it. It's serving me pretty well. Beefy router motor in there. I even got a 3-flute straight bit in there right now. I was doing some edging. And of course covered with, whatever, because everyone needs 20,000 feet of string. Comes in a 2-pack, so you get 40,000 feet, luckily. Because 20,000 won't do it. But binder twine. If you guys have never used binder twine, check it out for all sorts of securing of stuff. But more containers and things, and a stack here more of shoe boxes that they need to go somewhere. Yeah, it's one of those things. And each of them has a project. I'm working on a jewelry box for my wife, and some of the hardware to that is in that one. And I know, hey, if I ever have some time, come back to that jewelry box, I grab this bin and I get to town. So if that makes any sense. Moving around again, counterclockwise. This is that big kind of lumber rack. This is kind of what finalizes my addition to with those mechanics toolboxes. And this juts out essentially into the room and is a peninsula. But the neat thing, and in fact, if you want to back up with that, back up quite a bit, that snowblower garage, I have my garage door here, in case you guys are wondering how that works. Well, it's open-ended on the back side, so when I need to snowblow, I lift the garage door up, and I'm able to pull that snowblower completely back out into the driveway, do my snowblowing, and then return it back to the garage, and it's out of the way. It's exactly within like an inch of the height of what I need and all that good stuff. But that wraps around, and this lumber rack here, I'm able to bring in, the bottom is full 4x8 sheets typically, and then the top side is all kind of rough sawn wood. But when I lift the garage door up, I can then back up whatever vehicle I have, slide my sheet goods in, and then it's a continual kind of thing. And then I can pull those sheet goods out and then use them on my table saw. So it's kind of a workflow thing of, I didn't necessarily want to have to put sheet goods leaning up against somewhere. And it bought me a bunch of extra real estate by making that peninsula out in the middle of the shop, because then I could stick my snowblower garage alongside it and all that stuff. And then if you want to scurry kind of around here, you'll have to pardon if it gets darker, but one of my light fixtures in this area just kind of, crapped out on me right about a week ago. But that lumber rack bought me a bunch of real estate, wall real estate and floor real estate in a shop is just so crucial. And this got me almost 64 square feet of real estate to put stuff on. And so this is where my cordless tools have essentially migrated to. I have a little charging station here. I bought into the one particular battery family. That way, all these tools use the same battery, and I have a multiple set of batteries going. If the battery's upside down like this, that means it needs to be charged. Kind of one of those little things in the shop. But the rest of them are all charged and ready to go. Yeah, cordless grinder, impacts, drills, jigsaw, reciprocating saw, stuff like that. And then again, another one of those black cabinets, and this is mostly my hand tools and things of that nature. But yeah, so if you're kind of rotating around here, and this is an ingress egress to get in and out of the shop. I'm trying to get out of the shot here, but getting things in and out. And I designed it in such a way when you wheel this cabinet out, you can get a standard skid or pallet through here and not a problem. In fact, that's another reason why I wanted to shoot this video, because I'm getting some equipment tomorrow, and this has got to get wheeled out, and that equipment's got to get through. But it's that whole kind of think ahead thing, and so the ingress egress is wide enough to get your standard pallets and stuff through. But kind of tucked away, buried away back here. Oh, here, this I'll show, because my wife is patiently awaiting this. But a walnut crotch slab table, or not table, bench that I was making her. And that's almost done. I just got to drill the holes and add the feet and finish the top. But my old mechanic's tool tower sitting here, littered with stickers of different manufacturers. But basically anything mechanical, you know, all my Snap-on, Matco stuff is in there. Ratchets and air ratchets, impacts, and so yeah, all that's there. Extra spare gas can. And then just kind of a mishmash. Again, I said that in the beginning. This is my like legitimate shop. It's messy. People think, you know, it's clean most of the time. It's really not. It's pretty messy. My little 6-inch bench top joiner sitting there. I don't use it a ton. Most of the stuff that I get away with like a glue line rip blade and stuff like that. So a lot of my theater prop type stuff, air cylinders and stuff for animatronics, air cannons for, like I said, different animatronics and special effects in theater. I do a lot of that stuff. That's an air cannon I made, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. And I keep modifying it anytime. I think it's been in probably half a dozen different plays. But I do have problems with certain elements. Like that's my rattle can assortment. So spray bombs, spray paint. You know, it goes 4 deep, and it's just a huge assortment. A lot of flat black though with theater. My belt sander here. The drive shaft on the disc sander stripped out on me the other day. This belt sander, again, links to everything that I can think of I'll put down below, but the disc sander stripped out on me, and so I'm in the midst of fixing it. So it's kind of broke down, and that's where I'm at with it. And I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of, well, you'll see my lathe in a little bit, but I don't know if I even want to fix that. I might just pull it off and then just use the belt sander. But moving right along here to my spindle sander. It's these ultimate fancy push blocks that I made, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. Out of some, that's how they get banged up. But anyways, spindle sander, I love. It's a workflow thing. I don't know why. I've always gravitated towards a spindle sander, and I always have one in my shop. It's one of those things to where I found you just have a ton of ways to use it. So hashtag Team Spindle Sander on that one. Moving next to that is my hollow chisel mortiser. Big Mission arts and crafts kind of furniture maker when I was selling stuff. And you do one Mission style bed, and this thing will pretty much pay for itself alone, monetarily and aggravation wise, because a Mission style, you know, say twin bed has got, I think, like 70, 75 mortises in it. And this is well before the Domino, you know, hit the market. Been experimenting with that, but that's been invaluable for me over the years. More mechanic style tools, and they're actually fairly organized. But you know, that's just kind of a catch-all for that too, and that's what sits up there. The sign I made, that was another YouTube video that I made, and that was mostly to block out light so that I could control the light making the videos. So there was no continuity issues, there was no overexposed and underexposed images depending on what time of day it was, sunset, you know, sunrise, that type of thing. But it's kind of become a thing. There's cobwebs on it. It's a shop, what can I say? Moving along here, newer piece of equipment, at least, you know, for me, a scroll saw. And I'm not a big scroll sawyer, but I picked this up right before my kids did that Pinewood Derby project, like I said, about a month ago. And that way they were able to do from A to Z exactly everything. They scroll sawed out everything. They drew it, they sanded it, you know, so again, I got footage of that, but I'm more of a woodworker than I'm a video maker. I live in the north, so, you know, I got an auxiliary heater. I heat my garage with, I have a heat pump slash AC unit there. But right now it's just too cold to use it as a heat pump. So then if you want to swing over quick, we'll get ahead of ourselves. But kind of a ceiling mount Modine style natural gas forced hot air heater. But then if I'm working, maybe I'll try and show that towards the end, but the bowls and the spoons and stuff. If I'm sitting and I'm just kind of bored, this is just a little quartz heater. That way if I'm sitting in a chair, stool, whatever next to it, I can have more task heating, I guess. I don't even know if that's a phrase, but they have task lighting. But that way if I'm sitting there, I don't have to heat the whole shop. But anyways, moving right along. I can't get to it right now, and this is why I debated doing one of these videos for the longest time. But a lot of my finished dies and things are in this one. I have an old tanning jig on the bottom one, and oddly enough, I think I have like fireworks in that middle one. Because who doesn't need to grow some bottle rockets? You get bored, all right? And then I picked this one up at an estate sale not too long ago. It's a shear break roll. And I used to do a lot of metalworking, welding, and things of that nature. This one's only, I think, 12 inches wide. But it was essentially thrown in free with all the other stuff I was buying it. And it was, I don't know, like a $400 or $500 machine. So I'm like, well, I can't turn down like 20 bucks or whatever he charged me for that. So hopefully I can get more back into metalworking. I never owned a ton of metalworking stuff, but I worked in production, fabrication, and machine shop for a long time. So. And then moving along to my Lunchbox Planer, 13-inch Lunchbox Planer served me well. Straight knife Lunchbox Planer. I think I can say Lunchbox Planer at least once more in that group of sentences there. But yeah, it sits there. I wheel that out. Most of these cabinets here, this cabinet's on wheels, cabinet the next to it's on wheels, everything. So I just wheel that out, and eventually, well, we'll get to my dust collector shortly, but again, upper cabinets. Oh, these handles here and stuff, those I made a video on, and that was early on when I started making videos, so not a ton of people have seen it, but you can make these handles for less than $1 a piece, and they're super easy, and I think they look good enough, and I like the full width, handles on things. That way, if I'm on this side, I don't have to go reach to the middle. It sounds silly, but there's so many times to where if you're just within hand's reach of that, it works out that much better. Now I almost want to explain that drawer a little bit slightly, but this is all my animatronic stuff, solenoid valves and control units that I build pretty much from scratch. I don't want to give too much away there, but maybe I should make some more videos on non-woodworking stuff. You guys let me know. Oh, and then here, this is actually the tripod that I film my videos on. Super expensive. I think it was like $13 or $14. And I made a little laptop thing because I do video chats and stuff with buddies. And so I made a little laptop thing to sit on top. And I quickly noticed that it is a really, really nice, if you flip it up, perfect for spraying little parts with spray paint. So that's what that actually serves a lot of purpose for. But anyways, moving right along. This corner, and by the way, I should have started with this. Maybe I'll put a little thing on the bottom of the screen in the start. It's roughly a 21 by 21 square shop. And so it's essentially a 2-stall garage. Unless you got a shady real estate agent, they'll try and call it a 2.5. But a 2-stall garage. But I do have this little bump out the way that our house is made, and the bump out goes back about 3.5 feet. I know it's not a full 4 foot because I tried to make a workbench in there that was 4 foot deep years ago. But so that little bump out serves to, and here you probably switch sides on me here. I have this Cyclone dust collector that's relatively new. I've had that for less than 2.5 years. And as of actually right now, the drum is full, but like I said, we just got like 30 inches of snow, so I'm not gonna go to the compost pile anytime soon, but it's full. Yeah, I don't know if you can follow it up, but there's a soft line and then this PVC that runs out to the island. You'll probably get bleached out there with all the shop lights, but so a little bit of hard piping going around the shop. some blast gates and things of that nature. It basically goes to my table saw island, and then there's a couple, branches off from there. But so my Cyclone sticks right back there, as well as just, oh man, just a plethora of wood and things of that nature that I can not get to very easily, so they don't get used very easily, all the wood back there. But again, it's, living working shop. It's just, you gotta kind of roll with the punches. My 14-inch bandsaw sitting here, and it is mobile with the push of a button or the step of a foot. I really like this thing. I got a decent amount of resaw capacity on it, and I think it's like a 13-inch resaw capacity. And that's when I was talking about the benchtop bandsaw. I keep this one pretty much with the 3/4 resaw blade in there, carbide tooth resaw blade, and that does a really good job making veneers and things of that nature, and yeah. So, and this whole kind of corner, if you want to look at this, your typical kind of bandsaw offcut, mess. I turned a mahogany bowl not too long ago, and that's where the mahogany and everything went. So, anyways, I just glanced at the time of my wife recording this, and it's over 30 minutes. Can you tell I like to talk? So I'm going to try and wrap this up real quick. We're on the last wall. Like I said about my disc sander, I made this one about a month or so ago. Well, no, it's probably been longer than that already. But it's a 22-inch diameter disc, and then I just had an extra box sitting here that I had clamped there just as a quick little thing. I don't know if I'll do anything more with that. Oh, let's swing back here real quick. And then I have all my lathe tools here on kind of this incline deal with my 5-inch chuck and some of my live centers, pen mandrels, Jacob's chuck, stuff like that. And a cabinet behind here with magnetic stuff. And if you go back up to the shoebox holder, that I did a video on early on, and that I did without a table saw. I was between table saws at the time. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Let me know if anyone has sat through this entire shop tour. Let me know in the comments section. I have to explain my thank you for that, to be able to put up with me for that long. But anyways, I made this and positioned this in such a way to where I knew I was going to want a twin to that shoebox container holder, and it will fit here. I just have to build the next one, and that's going to hold those shoebox containers. Got some. My wife's. This is candid. You can point to it. What do you want to point to? The lathe? More? Well, this is my lathe. What do you want to say about it? You can speak. But anyways, yeah, this is the lathe. It's kind of a beast. Sitting up against this wall, it was assembling it by myself was definitely a trick. Luckily, I had some stuff, some mounts hanging from the ceiling and stuff to where I was able to kind of hoist it up. But I think it weighs right around 600 pounds. 22-inch swing. I like to call it what the swing is, like the radii. So I'll call it 11-inch swing. Max 22-inch diameter, and I believe it's 44 between centers. So yeah, that's, again, links to everything. I built this lathe tool holder underneath. Served me pretty good so far. Some of the lighter stuff, these tools, I got this kind of group tool set off Amazon. And it's actually served me really well, but the handles are lighter, so if I get running up into anything that's off center or a little bit with a vibration, they kind of want to go through. Luckily, they can't go through all the way and they hit the wall. So, and then if you look underneath here, I don't know, things I'm drying picked up along the way, and bowl blanks and different things. And my buddy Ted gave me this big chunk of Osage orange. I could probably get about 3 or 4 mallets out of that. But yeah. So that's that, and we'll move along here. I got some hickory and some ash leaning up against here. I just got the other day, but it's covering my like brad nailer. I guess we'll just call it my pneumatic nailer little cubby that I built. And so yeah, that's, I mean, like a crown stapler, a micro pinner, 18 gauge brad nailer, upholstery stapler, and then a couple of them are missing yet, But below this, I don't know if you can sneak in here. If anyone hasn't seen this video, this is actually one of my favorite videos that's kind of pretty much nobody has seen but like my mom. But I show my air compressor setup, and that's plumbed right into the wall. My air compressor's in the basement. All I gotta do is flip a switch, and that turns my air compressor on, and we'll see if we can listen and hear it. She's nodding yes, so you can hear it, so then I'll shut it off. So it is pretty quiet, but then I have a solenoid hooked up to this switch to where you can see I have tank pressure and regulated pressure here, and that brings the air up to the shop, and then you can kill the air. And there actually is a leak. That was, oddly enough, that was a prototype that I made and installed about 11 years ago. And of course the prototype worked, so it just stuck around as a prototype. Another clamp rack. These silver ones are the cheap aluminum ones, but they actually work really well. Some kind of grip clamps and things of that nature. And another clamp rack here for my parallel clamps and all the accessories that go with it. Some hand screw clamps up there, as well as some autographs and stuff from athletes that I've done work for. And let's see here. Oh, here, let's get into my grinding station. This is always kind of funny. I don't like changing out things. So this slow speed grinder, I think it's like a 1780 RPM slow speed grinder, has got the Wolverine system set up into it. So all my lathe stuff, it's right next to the lathe. I can do all my lathe tool sharpening, and I'm good to go on that. And then I got a high speed grinder with an 80 grit wheel and then a wire wheel. And then behind that, I have a polisher buffer and then a 1-inch wide belt sander. And normally when there's not plywood leaning against this, I just bring this out about a foot, again on wheels, and it rotates, and I can get to whatever station I need. I just rotate it, and it serves its purpose really, really well. I've actually gotten a ton of use out of that thing. So I'm hoping to upgrade it to kind of configure it a little bit better at some point, but you guys know how that goes. It's just one thing after another. If you want to zoom in here to my T-handle station, this is pretty much going to conclude the shop tour. But all my T-handles, I'll leave links. These things are by far the best Allen screw torque. They got Torx, they got metric, point to the right one, and standard, but they're solid. The handle is solid steel. So it acts as like a flywheel. And you know, a lot of those cap screws can be really, really, really long. And so you're sitting there and you're, with a little key. Nope, these are just wicked awesome. So, and then some buffing accessories and stuff like that. So this ends me kind of at where I started. However, I got to show the center island, I guess is what we'll call it. If you want to stay there, I'll get on the back side of the table saw here. But yes, it's a horizontal surface and it gathers clutter. I have like my jewelry making kit. Again, these shoe boxes, like all my jewelry making stuff is in one. So if I feel like busting out a little pendant or something, or I got to cut some silver or gold, I got my bench pin, sitting in there, and my fret saw just for the jewelry stuff. So that's sitting in there, and it apparently didn't make its way back to its home. It's too good for its home. What movie reference is that from? Are you too good for your home? Answer me. So yeah, it's just kind of sitting here. Again, this is where this PVC came down for dust collection. This blast gate goes to the back of my table saw, and so that's for my table saw. And then this blast gate is actually just hooked up to a hose to where I can reach other things. It's not hard piped all over the shop, so if I got to do some cleaning up remotely, this also hooks directly up to my router table. If I'm doing longer pieces, that router table swings out into this area, and then I just hook this up to my router table. Sitting in front of it, by far my most popular video of all time, just about ready to hit 2 million views on that video, is my crosscut sled. It's just, I'm blown away by that. And then I'm hiding my dust extractor for my sanders underneath the wing of the table saw, because that hose goes out, and when I'm using my DA sanders, I just use the hose, and there you go. And then on the back side here is my outfeed table. If you want to swing around, we'll show this side of the outfeed table. And on the end here, I have this craft paper roll. So if I'm doing a lot of dirty work, you know, somebody's got to do it. The craft paper goes up and covers the surface, and that works out real well. I have a video on that. And then this, again, shoebox container organizer, and basically anything I need in this area. You know what I mean? I try to have whatever I'm using. Some people say I have a glue stick obsession, but when you buy them in bulk, they're dirt cheap. And anywho, my friend Ashley gives me crap on that one. She's like, you got enough glue sticks? But anyways, so I have a video on that. Again, links to everything, all the tools, everything. I'll put that in the article, and the link to that article will be down in the description. I was flushing up some veneers the other day, so got all these little slinky pieces. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. Again, if you stuck around for the whole thing, I definitely appreciate it. And hopefully, even if you watched 5-6 minutes of it, you're able to get something from it. Like I said before, I like seeing these videos because you're able to see, oh, wow, that's a cool little storage technique, or that's a little workflow thing. And then also understand that I'm a creature that is very, very messy, and yeah, that's just the way it works. But anyways, if you have any questions, leave those down in the description or the comment section down below, because I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. And maybe, you know, we've gone super long on this. Hopefully, maybe I can show more detail about even what's in all the drawers and stuff at some point in the future. Yeah, so anyways, hopefully you guys have a great day. Enjoy being out in your shops. And until I see you guys next time, you guys, take care. You want to clean? How long was that?